Welcome back. This is Monty once again from DPL Surveillance Equipment. We're a full-service surveillance and security equipment company. We have lifetime guarantees and warranties on all the products. We have 24/7, 365 tech sales and customer support. We have perhaps the largest inventory of items that not only can you buy, but you can rent or lay away as well. We have a humongous video library. Go to our video library when you get a chance, you guys, and take a look at us demonstrating such things as bug detectors, law enforcement grade bug detectors, otherwise known as counter surveillance equipment. Take a look at us demonstrate GPS trackers. If you want to track someone's vehicle or just find out where your own employees are going or your children are going, use our GPS trackers for that, for real-time GPS tracking. In addition to that, take a look at the body-worn hidden cameras, which includes the watches, the keychains, the pens, coffee cups, bottled water, all of them with high resolution or high definition cameras in them. And also take a look at, let's see, what else am I missing? Under audio, under listening devices, take a look at our audio listening devices, otherwise known as audio bugs. We have some very sophisticated digital voice recorders, just in case you want to tap a landline phone or a cell phone or et cetera, use those digital sound activated voice recorders. Hide them under a table, bed, under a bed, desk, wherever you want to put them, because they're lightweight and very portable. Hide them anywhere and covertly record conversations. But pay attention to your own city, state, and local laws pertaining to eavesdropping and wiretapping. What else we have? Nanny cameras. A lot of you talk about you talk about recording conversation, recording what your nanny is doing, what your children are doing, what the employees are doing when you're away from the office and such. And those calls usually go something like this: I want to find out what's going on in my office or my home, my vacation home or something like that, and I want to look at the video remotely on my smartphone and watch what's happening, from another city, state, or country, and we can help you with that as well. Excuse me for 1 second. So those are nanny cameras or covert solutions, covert cameras. And then also we have, before I forget, anti-terrorist products. We're putting a lot of emphasis lately on our on the X-ray baggage scanners, on the explosive detectors, on the narcotics detectors. We're selling into every conceivable country, and because of the terrorist-related events that are going on, and that we, unfortunately, which we may encounter more of in the future. So we're just trying to make our customers aware of the fact that you want to pay attention to, particularly the opportunity to get your hands on state-of-the-art explosive detectors, narcotic detectors, and the X-ray baggage scanners. Some of the applications include, but are not limited to, embassies, ports, federal buildings, post office, airports, you name it. You can put. You should probably have that building or facility scanned by the narcotics detectors and the explosive detectors in particular. So those are some of the major categories that we want to emphasize. And so, yeah, take a look at the video library. We demonstrate a lot of these things. Take a look at the articles directory. And you people who are being electronically harassed, make sure you get in touch with us. You know who you are. Targeted individuals is a very popular, I shouldn't say popular, but another concerned group of people, targeted individuals. You guys know who you are. Corporate America, various covert government agencies, etc., are targeting these individuals, harassing them electronically, following them, gang stalking, all of that. And so we need to get a handle on electronic harassment. So you guys give us a call in particular. We have a lot of new additions to our product offerings, particularly under personal protection. You're going to find such things as the electromagnetic field tuners. Okay, they stabilize and reintroduce the human resonance in your house or your car or your office. And then our targeted tech pro and our microwave detector and our spectrum analyzer are going to make sure that you can analyze and isolate and identify various harassing technologies, such as the microwave, such as the RFs, electromagnetic, and RF frequencies in particular. So if you want to print and save and keep that information on your computer, don't hesitate to take a look at the spectrum analyzer. For instance, it has a print and save feature which allows you to print and save that information. So yeah, give us a call, 888-344-3742. That's 888-344-3742 if you have any need for some of those products. Now this is actually our CyberSecurity Newsflash episode number 14. And so we're already at number 14, you guys. And this particular session puts emphasis on, amongst other things, Vizio. Now that's a very popular smart TV. A lot of you guys, you probably recognize that name. Vizio is a very popular smart TV that a lot of you are buying from the Targets and the Walmarts and the Best Buy stores, or maybe you even get it from Amazon. But listen to this. Vizio's smart TV has been caught spying on customers. Okay, that's actually the name of this particular cybersecurity newsflash. Vizio smart TV caught spying on customers. Snoop TV is just the title of the subject for this particular paragraph. Vizio pays $2.2 million to settle FTC complaint. TVs that spy on their users have long been a trope of dystopian fiction, including George Orwell's 1984, which has shot to the top of Amazon's bestseller list in recent weeks. The book imagines an authoritarian regime maintained by a government that monitors its citizens via their televisions. What a coincidence that smart TVs, are the bane of privacy advocates because they are such a vital part of our entertainment experience in our homes and offices that we all have a smart TV, like a smartphone. And they happen to be used against us. Our last cybersecurity newsflash, actually, I think we talked about Samsung in a class action lawsuit as well. And now we find Vizio. So just be aware of the fact that this is not a coincidence, okay, you guys? Okay, moving right along with this particular, on this topic. But the spying TV trope appears to be far from fictional, according to a new settlement agreement reached between the Federal Trade Commission and smart TV manufacturer Vizio. Since 2010, Vizio has sold more than 11 million internet-connected televisions, the FTC says. According to the FTC's complaint against Vizio, those televisions have been surreptitiously spying on users by recording their television viewing history, IP address, nearby Wi-Fi access points, and other details, which Vizio has then sold to third parties. Vizio would pay $2.2 million to settle the complaint. $1.5 million is going to the FTC, and $1 million and $1 million to the New Jersey Division of Consumer Affairs, with $300,000 of that amount suspended. As is typical with FTC complaints, defendants who choose to settle rather than taking the matter to court do not have to admit any wrongdoing. So, you guys, look, just because a company doesn't admit wrongdoing, it doesn't mean we should let them off the hook. Excuse me. We can't let them off the hook. Vizio, Samsung, and the other guys, some of the other guys, which we'll name later on, they have Facebook pages. They have Twitter profiles. They have presence on YouTube and Instagram just like everyone else. Go to those pages. Let them know, and if you want to copy and paste some of this information that I've given you, let them know, look, we're aware of the fact that you guys are turning on the mics, turning on the cameras, recording our IP addresses. You guys are taking all this information that you obtained during in our privacy of our homes, and you're forwarding to third parties. Okay? So yeah, let's protest. Let's go to their Facebook pages and Twitter pages and et cetera, and let them know how we feel. A stipulated federal court order signed by Vizio executives now requires the company to prominently disclose and obtain affirmative express consent for its data collection and sharing practices, and prohibits misrepresentations about the privacy, security, or confidentiality of the consumer information they collect. According to the FTC, Vizio must also delete all data collected prior to March 2016. They also have to create a data privacy program and submit to having the program assessed biannually. So not only does Vizio have to conform to what the FTC is requesting, but it looks like they have to also make sure that they, on an ongoing basis, conform to what the FTC is alleging here as far as a remedy is concerned. Vizio couldn't be immediately reached for comment. No surprise there. Okay. The FTC accused Vizio of engaging in unfair and deceptive acts or practices in violation of the FTC Act, thus allowing the agency to petition courts to recover the disgorgement of ill-gotten monies. In this case, the disgorgement basically referring to the Vizio getting compensated for money in terms of selling this third-party information. That's what they're referring to when you talk about disgorgement. They're getting compensated basically by selling our private information. In this case, the disgorgement relates to Vizio's wholly owned subsidiary, Vizio Inscape Services, formerly known as Cognitive Media Services. According to the FTC, Vizio Inscape Services developed proprietary automated content recognition software to detect the content on internet-connected televisions and monitors, which it installed on all Vizio televisions. Hi, Carolyn. We're going to occasionally recognize all the viewers and the people who are paying attention to our CyberSecurity Newsflash, so we'll have to do that out of respect. According to the FTC, Vizio Inscape Services developed proprietary automated content recognition software to detect the content on internet-connected televisions and monitors, which it installed on all Vizio's televisions beginning in February 2014. Thanks for the hands, Carolyn. And then also remotely installed on previously purchased internet-connected televisions that did not yet have the software on them. So basically, Vizio decided to not only put this technology, the automated content recognition software, on new TVs, but they went back and said, look, let's get this privacy violating software on previously purchased units as well. So these guys are really getting aggressive in terms of making sure that they can put this remote monitoring software on all their TVs. Any TV that they can get, old or new, they want to put that on there. So this must have been revealing valuable information for Vizio. Let's see what else. So they got the information on remotely installed. They're putting remotely installed software on old TVs. Defendants, particularly Vizio, ACR software also periodically collects other information about the smart TVs, including IP addresses, wired and wireless MAC addresses, which is basically the A MAC address is basically like a physical address for your laptop and desktop computers, etc., notepads, whatever, iPads. Wi-Fi signal strength, nearby Wi-Fi access points, so they're probing your entire house and your network and everything that's wireless in your home. And other items, which is not even mentioned in terms of what other items means, according to the complaint. The FTC says this information has been sold to third parties for 4 purposes. Now listen to this, you guys. Audience measurement, tracking what consumers are watching and how, second by second. Analyzing advertising effectiveness, tracking how many users visit a website for a product after seeing a related advertisement. So this is number 2 out of 4. And they want to make sure that when you go to a website, how long did it take you to purchase something? So this is all valuable information for Vizio's advertisers, the people who want to buy products and etc. Based upon. Thank you, Carolyn. She said, thank you for great information. You're welcome. Let's see. So yeah, Vizio wants to compensate people who have products to sell, because when Vizio turns over those customers to people who are advertising their products, they want to make sure it's relevant and effective. So yeah, they're analyzing advertising effectiveness for the customers of Vizio who are buying them, the merchants and retailers, etc., advertisers. Targeting advertising, using television viewing data to serve specific types of advertisement to viewers. So they're catering what you see in your advertisements when you surf the internet on those smart TVs. They're catering content specifically for you based upon them stealing your private information. The 4th item, identifying viewers, providing IP addresses to data aggregators, allowing them to identify specific consumers or households, and then share this information so that sex, age, income, marital status, household size, education, home ownership, and household value of the individual or a household can be ascertained. So this is basically everything. It looks like Vizio is violating every conceivable rule that you could imagine. Okay, they're just going flat out and breaking every particular rule in the book. Okay, those who purchased Vizio televisions were given no notice that tracking software was installed, the FTC says. FTC stands for the Federal Trade Commission, just in case you guys don't know. For televisions that had the software remotely installed in February 2014, post-purchase or after purchase by Vizio, the FTC says that a pop-up notification then appeared on screen that read, "The Vizio privacy policy has changed. Smart interactivity has been enabled on your TV, but you may disable it in the settings menu. See www.vizio.com/privacy for more details." And this message will time out in 1 minute. As noted, however, the message was displayed for only 60 seconds. So Vizio is trying to convince the FTC that it was going to last up to a minute, or at least a minute, but then it only lasts for 60 seconds. So this is typical, you guys, of these people who are violating your privacy, particularly the people who are, providing the smart TVs and such. The privacy policy will say one thing, but then in actuality, it'll be totally different. So you got 60 seconds to read this gobbledygook that doesn't even tell you the truth. Okay, so the message is displayed for 60 seconds, and there was no guarantee that it would be seen, or particularly seen by an adult, that its messages would be understood. By March 2016, when the FTC was investigating these practices, Vizio crafted another pop-up message which told the viewer that their television viewing data was being collected, but that message disappeared after 30 seconds. So you go from 1 minute down to 60 seconds to 30 seconds. The FTC says, for viewers who looked up smart interactivity in their manual, furthermore, the definition stated only your TV can display program-related information as part of the broadcast. So that's a very poor definition of smart interactivity, you guys. So they're using, the wrong vernacular, the wrong verbiage to give us an idea of what's happening, and it totally throws you off in terms of what they're actually doing. Okay, but it made no reference to people's viewing data being collected, stored indefinitely, or being sold to third parties. Okay, so Vizio is really screwing over people, its customers, people who bought the TVs. Automated content recognition technology warning, or otherwise known as ACR. The FTC's settlement agreement is a result of a 2015 report in Consumer Reports magazine warning that so-called smart TVs, internet-connected devices that include microphones and cameras built by the likes of LG. So this is where I told you that we were going to identify some other companies. LG, Samsung, which we covered in the last Cyber Newsflash. So that's LG, Samsung, and Vizio included automatic content recognition technology that was collecting and sharing user data on a fairly massive scale. Okay, those revelations led to Vizio being slapped with 2 class action lawsuits. So you guys may want to make a reference to this class action lawsuit when you go on to Vizio's Facebook page, including LG and Samsung. Tell them, you're going to join this class action lawsuit, find out who the lawyers are, and see if you can get your name on the list, because obviously these manufacturers, these TV providers don't want you to know about this. But if a class action lawsuit has not been settled already, you can be a part of it. So that's LG, Samsung, and Vizio is what you want to look up and see who the lawyers are. It's not that difficult to find. Just type in class action lawsuit, and then Vizio, LG, or Samsung, Smart TV, or something, and then more than likely you'll the lawyers who's representing the consumers, the Smart TV purchasers, you'll be able to find them and connect with them and contact them. Okay. Those revelations led to Vizio being slapped with 2 class action lawsuits. Meanwhile, security firm Avast, A as in Apple, V-A-S-T, Avast warned that the content recognition technology in Vizio smart TVs could be exploited to launch a man-in-the-middle attack. Now, a man-in-the-middle attack is basically a vulnerability that allows a hacker to get in between you and the smart TV servers, for instance. So basically, it's a security hole that hackers can exploit, and that means not only will Vizio or LG or Samsung, not only would they be, getting access to your IP and household income information, viewing habits, turning on microphones and cameras, but the hackers can take advantage of this too. So we're going to have to think twice about how these internet-connected devices actually operate, because when hackers are able to take advantage of these weaknesses, then everybody, all bets are off at that point. Any and everybody is going to be taken advantage of. Okay. So the man-in-the-middle attack. This is enabling attackers to then potentially exploit anything connected to the home network. Big data worries. This might sound like abstract concerns, except for in 2011 and 2012, National Security Agency documents leaked by the publication Intercept in 2015, which showed the United States Intelligence Agency building a big data program called Skynet, S-K-Y-N-E-T. The name references the artificial intelligence program and the Terminator movies that gains sentience and then attempts to murder humanity via army of cyborg Arnold Schwarzeneggers. So basically, it looks like the NSA is going to be taking advantage of these internet-connected devices. They're also scooping up a lot of data in this Skynet program. And in the movie, The Terminator, the smart connected or the robots or whatever. They gain intelligence and then they start to try to kill people, basically. In this case, however, the program, if the leaked documents are accurate, attempted to marry or combine travel patterns and behavior-based analytics to try and identify miscreants or bad people. There's no indication that the NSA would try to intercept data feeds from smart TVs, but I'm here to say yes, there is. Okay, I'm a cybersecurity expert and a physical security expert. We're doing physical security for 20 years, and I beg to differ. But using Internet of Things devices to study viewing patterns and identify individuals would be an obvious and potentially privacy upsetting move. Okay, so that is very revealing. You guys jump on this class action lawsuit thing with Vizio, Vizio, LG, and Samsung, and realize that if any device has a microphone in it and has a camera in it that someone else put in there, they're going to be able to turn that camera on, and more than likely they will, or they're going to turn that microphone on, whatever they want to, and you will have no control over it because terms and conditions, privacy policies change, and a lot of times that information goes to third parties and other countries, and our bets are off when that information actually goes into a foreign country where we don't have access to it, and it's hard to press charges or get it back after it's gone. Okay, moving right along. Microsoft to raid corporate security. Now, this is something that the industry has been needing for a long, long time. We need some standards when it comes to cybersecurity. Again, the title of this section, Microsoft to raid corporate cybersecurity. Now, when it comes, just to get, so you guys will know, we need some standards. We need a rating system. We need a way of determining whether or not this software, this device, or this policy in relation to cybersecurity is actually meeting minimum standards. And it looks like Microsoft is trying to provide the industry with some standards that everyone can meet and a way of measuring it. Let's read on. Hartford Financial, which is a major insurance company, says it will use the Office 365 Secure Score when setting cyber insurance rates. Microsoft on Friday will begin grading its commercial customers' Office 365 security settings in an effort to fortify its software and services that are frequent targets of hackers. One insurance company, Hartford Financial Services Group Incorporated, plans to take the security score into account when setting cyber insurance rates for customers. No money is changing hands, the company said. Microsoft declined to say whether it approached other insurance companies to use the dashboard-like service. Amid a continuing flood of cyber attacks, tech companies frequently cajole customers into beefing up their use of security features. Alphabet Incorporated, Google, Facebook Incorporated, and Twitter Incorporated, for example, all encourage users to enable multi-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication, which we covered as well, is a common security step that requires people to provide more than just a username and password to log in. Microsoft in recent years has pushed to burnish its reputation for security. The Windows 10 operating system is more secure than its predecessors, in large part because it includes free upgrades that are installed automatically in the background, ensuring it has the latest protections. So I think that's probably the way to go, and it should be a no-brainer for you and for the industry to make sure that if you're going to have applications and programs on your computer or your web browser or whatever, updates and security vulnerability patches really should be patched automatically and frequently. It's really in your best interest to make sure that the browsers and the apps and the programs update themselves, because we don't want to take chances. People get lazy and complacent and everything. So if this is done automatically, then that's even better. Microsoft is debuting the Secure Score ahead of the annual RSA Digital Security Conference in San Francisco, which gets underway Monday. RSA is, again, a major security conference that takes place and typically in San Francisco. And the major players, Cisco, Microsoft, Apple, everybody sends their chief technology officers, chief security officers, cybersecurity experts over to that RSA conference. It's just a go-to convention and a convention or conference that you have to attend if you have anything to do with cybersecurity and security overall. The company will suggest ways to improve security and include a tool to model how security changes affect scores. Security scores can climb, for example, when customers enable multi-factor authentication. Secure Score, this is the name of Microsoft's product, the initiative. Secure Score only considers a business customer's use of security features in Office 365. That means it might register lower scores for customers who choose to use rival security products instead of enabling security features included in their Office 365 subscription, the company said. Businesses can compare their scores to the other 85 million commercial customers using Office 365, which is the online version of Microsoft's email, word processing, and spreadsheet applications. It's essentially like a health checkup, said Brad Arsenault, Microsoft's Chief Information Security Officer. In testing, Microsoft found that customers who checked their security settings boosted their scores on average by 18% over those who didn't visit their security dashboard. Hartford plans to take Secure Score into account when pricing its cyber insurance coverage. The company already looks at a variety of factors, from the industry in which clients operate to the physical security of their buildings, said Tom King, head of cyber insurance for the company. Now, I think this is important, you guys, because I'm an expert in physical security. Me and Carolyn Aranda, my co-owner, we are experts in physical security, but we're doing cybersecurity because we noticed a long time ago that cybersecurity and physical security really go hand in hand. A wireless router, for instance, is a physical product or a piece of equipment. Your camera systems in your home, your camera systems in your office, for instance, are physical devices, but they do play, and they can play and do play a critical role in making sure that the right people get in and out of your premises, and that you can monitor what's going on, right? So if it's a router, if it's cameras, if it's a phone system, if it's smartphones or computers or laptops, there's an overlap definitely when it comes to physical and cybersecurity. So keep in mind that you can't have one without the other, and you can't isolate them and treat them as totally separate. They have to be combined so that you get the optimum when it comes to making sure that the physical devices are just as secure, if not more so, in relation to what you could do with cyber. Okay, both of them are complementary, and they should be viewed as you take a holistic approach. In other words, he declined to disclose the weight Secure Score tallies would get in pricing decisions. The actual score itself is less relevant than the fact that the customer is focused on security configurations, Mr. King said. It gives us insight and comfort that you are doing some risk management, he said. So again, Hartford is basically telling you, look, just keep this on your mind. Keep in mind that Hartford is looking at looking at this from all angles. If this is top of mind, risk management overall, then you more than likely you're going to be more capable of protecting not only your data but your physical environment as well. PricewaterhouseCoopers, a major accounting firm, forecast that the roughly $3 billion corporate cyber insurance market will grow to $7.5 billion in premiums by 2020, making it the fastest growing insurance product in America. So we covered how quickly corporate cyber insurance is growing as far as the market is concerned, and that's a major marketplace. So you guys who are looking to transition from one career to the other or whatever, keep in mind that cyber insurance is a fast-growing marketplace, and they're going to be needing all sorts of experts and talent in the very near future, and definitely in the indefinite future, definitely. So, moving right along, volunteers archive government data worry Trump administration could cut access to students, librarians, and others store federal web pages, download data, and craft information campaigns. So, volunteers archive government data. Okay, they're worried about the Trump administration. Okay, because it seems like, I don't want to get political here, but it seems like a number of the cabinet positions and different people and that are in this new administration, they don't have, they're not exactly proponents of the environment or the integrity of climate change and different things going on. And it looks like a number of people, organizations, are worried that the data that we currently have on web pages and various websites pertaining to, a lot of scientific research about climate change and different things, they're worried about. They're worried that the data either could be modified or changed or deleted. So they're archiving. We talked about the Wayback Machine. That's Wayback Machine in the previous CyberSecurity Newsflash. And that's another attempt to archive information as soon as possible. So these guys want you guys to be able to go back and take a look at the facts, compare information that's stored in comparison to what you see or hear. So this allows us, again, go back and take a look at the integrity information. So it's good that somebody's taking this into consideration, because we want to go back and we want to compare things. When you get the impression that someone is just presenting one side of one view, in pertaining to climate or whatever, then and then you want to go back and take a look at what they said previously as compared to what they said now. This is one way we can do it. Academics, librarians, and technology professionals are hosting archivathons, where they're like a marathon, archivathons, to copy public databases hosted by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, NASA, and other federal agencies, saying they are worried access to the data could be compromised under the Trump administration. The goal is to ensure that the climate, environmental, and other data remain in the public domain, according to organizers of the events, which are taking place across the United States and in Canada. So again, these guys are really concerned, and they're doing all they can to make sure that that data is preserved, and again, whether it be from NASA, whether it be from the EPA, or wherever it's coming from, we want to go back and take a look at whether or not there's any changes or whatever. The goal is to ensure that the climate, environmental, and other data remain in the public domain, according to organizers. Okay, I read that. We don't feel like someone's going to flip a switch or turn off web pages, said Jerome Whittington, a faculty member in New York University's Department of Anthropology, who was part of their archiving effort. One of the easiest ways to attack that stuff is to defund that maintenance. We want to ensure that high-quality information is in the hands of people so they can use it. So again, when someone in one administration, like this current administration, if someone says, you know what, we're going to cut the budget of this organization or that agency, and if we can't get access to that information, it doesn't mean that it never existed. So yeah, if we can go back and take a look at, even if something is stored a little bit older or whatever, at least we can see for ourselves. You can look at, a lot of times you can look at trends, you can look at historical data and see, get an idea of what has happened at least, so you can make forecasts. While President Donald Trump has said nothing specific about cutting off access to data, his past statements about reducing funding to the EPA, during which he called it the laughingstock of the world, and his administration's moves to clamp down on communications at some federal agencies have raised concern among scientists about long-term access to data and bolstered the perception that leaner funding is likely ahead. So again, if the Trump administration is basically censoring and filtering what comes out of these agencies, that doesn't do us any good. Okay, if somebody in the EPA or whatever is afraid to talk and go on record, and if they're afraid of being fired, that's no good. If everybody has to wait and bite their tongue and try and see whether or not they can get permission to speak their minds, that doesn't help us out at all. So the administration's skepticism toward climate science has added to these concerns. Oklahoma Attorney General Scott Pruitt, Mr. Trump's pick to run the EPA, said last month that the role of human activity on climate change is subject to continued debate, a statement that runs counter to the consensus of the scientific community. Everybody knows Mr. Trump is unconventional and proudly so, said Rush Holt, Chief Executive Officer of the American Association for the Advancement of Science, a general scientific society, and a former Democratic congressman. There's uncertainty about whether evidence has a privileged place in the administration. So, we have to keep in mind that science is very important, and we can't just rule out what science is telling us, because that's one way where we can get a very good handle on, science usually speaks in terms of facts, and we don't need rhetoric. We need facts. We need to take a look at numbers and stats now, as compared to just having someone decipher this and define this for us, okay? Everybody knows, okay, well, let me see, I'm sorry. The White House spokeswoman, Kelly Love, declined to comment, and the EPA didn't provide a comment. So, yeah, those agencies seems like they're being censored and told what to say and what not to say, which is insane. National Aeronautics and Space Administration, otherwise known as NASA spokesman Allard Butel said the agency was continuing to provide NASA data and information about our research and missions to the public as we previously have been doing. So I guess Allard is saying that NASA is not going to change the way it gives us information. But we could. You never know. Sometimes you got to double check what everybody's telling you. Okay. Scott Smolin, a spokesman for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, otherwise known as NOAA, said the agency hadn't received any directives from the Trump administration targeting the availability of NOAA databases. Archivists are also copying NOAA data. By the way, archiving events have been held in New York, Portland, Oregon, and Arbor, Michigan, with others planned for the Bay Area and California and Boston this month. In New York City on Saturday, more than 150 volunteers showed up to a day-long archiving event at New York University, Mr. Whittington said. On the fourth floor of the Tisch School of the Arts, scientists, students, coders, academics archived web pages archived web pages, downloaded data, and crafted campaigns to inform the public about why they believe federal databases are important not just for research, but for public health, the property of their communities, the economy, and career aspirations. Hannah Frick, a 22-year-old senior at NYU who wants to study environmental law, said federal data were important for her ability to work in that field. She was helping in a room where volunteers set to work on laptops to archive web pages from the Department of the Interior and the EPA. The web page catalog they are building will help track changes in the information available on these sites, they say. Before joining this effort, Ms. Frick says she started taking screenshots of federal sites, but soon realized that wasn't very efficient. The web page archiving efforts use web crawler software that can automatically gather information from web pages and send it to a central repository. So this is interesting and very efficient. Instead of taking screenshots, you use web crawlers. They just go out there and gather information and automatically deposit them to a central repository. Okay, these programs, however, aren't good at getting data that are embedded in tables or in interactive maps. So in a bigger main space in this office building, dozens of people downloaded that data, an effort requiring more technical savvy. A third room served as communications headquarters. A handful of people crafted tweets and blogs about the event and planned public messaging around the use of federal data for hurricane relief efforts, drought management, and disease tracking, and helping the elderly and other vulnerable populations during extreme weather events. I don't think the average taxpayer knows their money is being used to do that. We're talking about grandma's health, said Bethany Wiggin, the founding director of the Penn program in environmental humanities at the University of Pennsylvania, in an interview before the NYU event. She is also a member of Data Refuge, one of the organizations behind the data gathering events. We're talking about real-life impact on ourselves and our friends and neighbors, Dr. Wiggin said. Events like the one held at NYU are spearheaded by organizations such as Data Refuge and the Environmental Data and Governments Initiative, which cropped up at universities after the U.S. elections. The events are part of a broader activist movement that includes scientists such as University of California, Berkeley biologist Michael Eisen, who say they are planning to run for public office, by the way. A March for Science, again, a March for Science is being planned by scientists and science enthusiasts in Washington, D.C. and other cities in April, and has gained hundreds of thousands of followers on social media. Some government officials are joining the archiving effort. In New York State, the Attorney General's office has been working to preserve information from the federal government's scientific databases, particularly as it relates to climate change, as it's vital to our legal work protecting New Yorkers' health and environment, said Amy Spitalnik. She's press secretary for Attorney General Eric Snyderman, who is a Democrat, by the way. The city of Philadelphia has asked archivists to download databases from the U.S. Geological Survey, among others, to ensure data integrity and public access going forward, says Sarah Wu, the city's deputy director for planning in the Office of Sustainability. The city has used federal climate models to help planners assess future funding needs for extreme weather events, Ms. Wu said. The storage also can be expensive. An anonymous corporate sponsor, along with information archiving company Page Freezer, which is one word, Page Freezer, Software Incorporated, and some universities are currently housing the data gathered by Data Refuge and EDGI, or EDGI. So far, the bulk of the downloading efforts has focused on climate and environmental data, but advocates are also planning to copy other repositories, according to Prue Adler, Associate Executive Director at the Association of Research Libraries, and an international organizing whose mission is the long-term preservation and access to information. ARL, otherwise known as the Association of Research Libraries, is enlisting its 124 member libraries in Canada and the United States to join the archiving efforts. So that is very interesting, because a lot of public agencies are really apprehensive, you guys, in terms of maybe data will be deleted, modified, or maybe agencies will be defunded, maybe employees will be censored, and it's reprimanded for speaking out. And you know, a lot of people are just concerned. So yeah, this massive archiving is really revealing in terms of how people feel about the current administration. So maybe you can archive some data that you think is going to be important on your own. Maybe that'll be the next entrepreneurial, profit-making company to develop apps, for instance, that archive information that you think is important. So they'll, maybe you'll put some preferences in the app and tell the app to go out there and archive for certain organizations' websites. So maybe you can have a backup of information in a central database ran by the app developer or something. Who knows? Okay, moving right along. Fake Netflix app relentlessly spies on all mobile activity. An espionage Trojan called SpyNote RAT, R-A-T, has been found masquerading as the popular Netflix app to trick Android users into downloading it. It then sets about constantly eavesdropping on user activity. Zscaler, that's Z and then S-C-A-L-E-R, Zscaler's Threat Labs said that once installed, the malware is capable of activating the device's microphone and listening to live conversations, uninstalling antivirus software, copying files from the device to the hacker's server, recording screen captures, viewing contacts, reading SMS messages, and gaining remote control of the device. So this SpyNote RAT, or SpyNote RAT, seems like it's really a pain in the butt. Okay, it does everything. To the latter point, command execution can create havoc for the victim if the malware developer decides to execute commands in the victim's device. Leveraging this feature, the malware developer can root the device using a range of vulnerabilities, well-known or zero-day. The spyware in this analysis was portraying itself as the Netflix app. Once installed, it displayed the icon found in the actual Netflix app on Google Play. Okay, researchers explained in an analysis, as soon as a user clicks the spyware's icon for the first time, nothing seems to happen, and the icon disappears from the screen. This is a common trick played by malware developers, making the user think the app may have been removed, but behind the scenes, the malware has not been removed. Instead, it starts preparing its onslaught of attacks. SpyNote RAT also uses an unusual trick to make sure that it remains up and running and that the spying does not stop. It uses something called boot complete, which is a broadcast receiver on Android component. Broadcast receiver and Android component that can register itself for a particular event. In this case, whenever the device is booted, boot complete gets triggered. Boot complete then starts the auto startup service, which can perform long-running operations in the background and does not need a user's interface. And then the auto startup service makes sure that the RAT's core functionality is always running. The team also found several other fake apps developed using the SpyNote builder, including fake versions of WhatsApp, YouTube video downloader, Google Update, Instagram, AirDroid, I think Facebook, Photoshop, Sky TV, Hotstar, whatever that is, Trump Dash, and Pokemon Go. Overall, in just the first 2 weeks of 2017, there have been more than 120 such spyware variants already being used, already built using the same SpyNote Trojan builder as SpyNote RAT, and roaming in the wild, the researchers noted. The days when one needed in-depth coding knowledge to develop malware are long gone, they said. Nowadays, script kiddies, which is basically relatively unexperienced hackers, they just get existing scripts off the internet, and they just insert a few modifications, and now they can have their own hacker tool. Script kiddies can build a piece of malware that can create real havoc. Moreover, there are many toolkits like the SpyNote Trojan builder that enable users to build malware with ease and a few clicks. Because mobile devices are everywhere, malware is everywhere too. That's why Zscaler, which is a company pointed this out for us, that's why Zscaler advises all mobile users to take precautions when downloading anything to their devices, including the apps. In particular, users should avoid side-loading apps from third-party app stores and avoid the temptation to download and play games that are not yet officially available on Android. So yeah, get your apps from the actual official sources. Don't play with a lot of apps. Don't experiment with new apps where you're not quite sure where they came from and what they do, because it looks like these things are creating real havoc. Let's see here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a brief break because I think my router may cut off. I have it on a Okay, we're back. I put my router on a timer, which I suggest that you guys do as well. When you're sleeping, for instance, and for other reasons as well, but particularly when you're sleeping, you don't need to have that router on all the time. So I put, let me just in case you didn't get that, because I was plugging in my microphone. You don't need to have your router on all the time, particularly when you're sleeping. So you may want to consider putting it on a timer so that when you sleep, you can actually sleep peacefully without being bombarded by electromagnetic radiation, wireless signals from the router. Okay, so we're going to move right along. The next topic, what to know before using free tax return services. Credit Karma Tax, a new online service says it charges users nothing to prepare and file their tax returns. Instead, it hopes to gather their data. Now, this is the most stupid trade-off in terms of providing a service that I've ever seen. Let me make sure this microphone is on. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's on. Okay, now, if someone tells you they're going to let you use an app or program or something, you don't have to pay me, but at the same time, if you're giving them valuable information, such as the information that you have to give up when you're doing taxes, come on, you guys. They're basically, you're giving away everything at that point. Okay, let's read on. This is insane. Credit Karma, with a K, Credit Karma has attracted 60 million users over the past decade by offering free credit information. Now, the financial technology upstart is hoping to attract millions more via free tax return preparation. So it looks like Credit Karma has been doing credit information, probably like Experian or TransUnion or Equifax or something, for a long, long time. Now that's not enough. Now they want to take advantage of getting your information and stealing more information and giving it away, or selling it rather, relating to your doing your taxes, okay? U.S. taxpayers this year can use a new Credit Karma unit to complete their returns online for no cost, even if they don't give the company permission to use their data for other purposes. The company says the service can handle more than 8 dozen federal forms and be used to prepare most states' returns as well. Credit Karma, which is based in San Francisco, is the latest entrant in a field of tax preparation services that already includes into its TurboTax, H&R Block, and Blue Cora Incorporated's Tax Act. Okay, it is hoping to attract users in the fastest growing category of tax filers, people who prepare their own returns using the internet instead of desktop software or paid preparers. So this is a fast growing segment. Those who do their taxes online, very fast growing segment and very lucrative as far as getting information from other people. The industry giant is Intuit's TurboTax Online, which had more than 28 million users last year, or nearly 5 times the number of users a decade ago. Online tax prep provided 89% of Intuit's $1.97 billion, as B as in boy, operating revenue from consumer tax products for its most recent fiscal year. So again, that's $1.97 billion with a B, and that's what Intuit is getting for their services, for tax preparation products. Online tax prep products offered by Block, H&R Block that is, and Tax Act had about 5 million users each last year, as compared to 28 million for Intuit. Meanwhile, sales of once popular desktop software have declined. Last year, TurboTax sold about 5 million desktop units, compared with nearly 7 million a decade ago. Credit Karma declined to say how many people have already used its new offering called Credit Karma Tax, although it says 1.7 million people joined a waiting list to try the service after its initial announcement in early December. To enter the tax prep field, the company bought a tax software firm for an undisclosed amount. Credit Karma says its tax service doesn't charge online customers any fees at all. Currently, some customers of other firms pay a fee while others don't, but users attracted by free offers can wind up paying fees if they opt for add-on services or upgrades. So it looks like the basic service is free, but you probably won't get very much in the way of features or benefits until you pay these add-ons, and that's where they make a little bit more money, this Credit Karma. Both Intuit and H&R Block said that can happen, but their products provide more benefits. A large percentage of TurboTax online customers pay nothing, said a spokeswoman for Intuit, and we never share customer data with a third party without the customer's consent. A spokesman for Block said H&R Block gives support for complex issues that many taxpayers need, whether one is filing on a desktop, tablet, or smartphone. There are other ways Credit Karma's approach differs from that of rivals. It seeks to collect income and other data from its tax prep users to make recommendations for credit cards and other financial products to them. Credit Karma doesn't charge for these solicitations and says it doesn't share personal information or sell it to third parties. Instead, the third-party firms pay Credit Karma if the member applies for and receives a product through its website. So it looks like the people who are partnering with Credit Karma definitely are matching up your personally identifiable information with Credit Karma's, and they're identifying you as a customer and Credit Karma's getting a referral fee for doing that. To use Credit Karma Tax this year, people will need first to become members of Credit Karma. That means providing certain information, including address, date of birth, mobile phone number, and the last 4 digits of a Social Security number. Prospective users should also be aware that the program can't yet import data, so it must be entered manually. Recent Credit Karma filers like Mike Zaccardi and Rosalind Mangoa said they didn't realize they could deny the company the use of their return data and still file their taxes using it. A company spokeswoman said this information is clearly stated on the website. So again, you can bury information on a website so far deep, no one could ever find it. Miss Mangoa, who is 41 years old and works as an administrator at a medical clinic in Oakland, California, says she was pleased with how Credit Karma tax functioned and found that it gave her the same tax totals as an H&R Block tax program. But she wasn't pleased when she soon received a notice from her credit card company asking her to update her income. I don't want financial companies to know my income and try to sell me products based upon it, she said. She deactivated her Credit Karma account. The spokeswoman for Credit Karma says the request Ms. Mangoa received had nothing to do with her Credit Karma membership. So I guess it was just a coincidence. Mr. Zaccardi, a 29-year-old energy trader in Jacksonville, Florida, says he is happy to have Credit Karma have his tax information. I'm careful with my credit, and I'm happy with their products. I want to get those offers. He adds that he recently completed his aunt's fairly simple tax return using Credit Karma Tax. Last year, tax prep cost her $64.99, he says, but this year it was very smooth and free. So, the old adage, you get nothing for free. I don't care if you like the product or not. You just got to realize, marketing is big business. The more detailed information you can get on a customer, you guys, the more valuable that information, that data is going to be. So just be on the lookout for these companies now, just like we learned with Pokemon Go. They collect all sorts of information and forward it to third parties in other countries, and you don't even know what's going to happen to it after the fact. Anyway, moving right along, ransomware took Washington, D.C. cameras offline ahead of the inauguration. 2/3 of police internet-connected CCTV cameras in Washington, D.C. were forced offline in January ahead of the presidential inauguration after a ransomware attack. Officials told the Washington Post that 123 out of a network of 187 cameras were affected. The devices are apparently used. The devices are apparently used. The devices that were used were run by police to monitor public spaces. The attack targeted 70% of the storage systems on which camera data is recorded, leaving them out of action from 12 to 15 in January 12th to the 15th. The report claimed. However, the issue was resolved by removing each device's software and reinstalling it at the site. There are said to have been at least 2 forms of ransomware on the system, although local officials have played down the seriousness of the attack. The ransomware was isolated to the CCTV network and didn't affect police investigations or put public safety in jeopardy, according to the report. I don't know if I necessarily believe that, okay? The ransomware, in related news, police in Texas have lost nearly 8 years' worth of digital evidence after refusing to pay a ransomware fine. Wow. The Cockrell Hill Police Department in South Dallas decided after speaking to the FBI not to pay the near $4,000 ransom after discovering the malware in mid-December. The ransomware was introduced to the network via a spam email spoofed to imitate a department-issued address. A statement published by WFAA last week has the following. This virus affected all Microsoft Office suite documents, such as Word documents, Excel files, in addition all body camera video, some in-car video, some in-house surveillance video, and some photographs that were stored on the server were corrupted and were lost. No information contained in any of these documents, videos, or photographs was extracted or transmitted outside the police department. Sure it wasn't. The files affected date all the way back to 2009, although the police tried to play down the impact on investigations, claiming that hard copies of all documents and the vast majority of videos and photographs are still kept on CD and DVD. It is unknown at this time how many digital copies of documents were lost, as it is also unknown how many videos or photographs that could have assisted newer cases will not be available, although the number of affected prosecutions should remain relatively small, it noted. So yeah, this is like, you got to back up data. You got to be prepared to pay a ransom. Unfortunately, sometimes you set aside money in the event that your backup fails you or something. But, when it comes to law enforcement and criminals getting off the hook because, your forensics, your data, your photos or something are missing and you can't get them back because the hacker deleted them, that's no excuse. So I think these public agencies should be held accountable. Either you're going to have backups or you're going to put money aside so that data, someone could be murdering someone or robbing a bank or whatever. And if you don't have photographs and videos or whatever you're supposed to have stored, if it's gone, I'm not quite sure how you're going to do your jobs, okay? So you're letting down the taxpayers. Let's see what else. Credit card fraud. This is the last one. Credit card fraud is on the rise. Okay, I'm going to summarize this for you guys. Credit card fraud keeps rising despite new security chips. So basically what's happening here is offline credit card fraud is decreasing because the chips put inside of the chip and pin point of sale terminals in your local Target and Walmart and wherever you go shopping, Kohl's, department stores, etc. The point of sale terminals with the new pin thing is making a difference. But hackers are moving online, doing more online because that's where the action is, and that's where the vulnerabilities persist. And me being an expert when it comes to processing credit card transactions, because me and Carolyn, who run our business, you want to say hi, Carolyn?
Hi.
Okay, she said hi. In the process of running our business, we have been able to become fraud experts. In other words, we double check billing information, name, address. We get on Skype or whatever we have to do, and we call the banks inside the United States or outside the United States, credit card companies. We call them ourselves, and we verify all that data whenever we think something suspicious is going on. And we hold up those transactions until we're comfortable with making sure that we know that this is the credit card holder. We know that it's shipped to the right address. We know that that the particulars are and the criteria is being met. And we've been able to reduce fraud to 1% or lower because again, we do a lot of the work manually. We've taught various banks and credit card processors and such. We taught them a lot of things about preventing credit card fraud. Because we do a lot of hands-on work ourselves, and we learned the hard way that you can't take things for granted, Even though a merchant processor or a bank may give you the impression that it's okay to ship a product, it doesn't mean that you can't double and triple check if you have any doubt. It's very easy once you learn how. Let's see. What else here? We're going to summarize this one too. Yeah, we're going to summarize this one too. For you wannabe hackers out there, there's something called bug bounty programs. Basically, you hackers out there, you know what a bug bounty program is and what it means. You can get paid to find vulnerabilities in a company's website or their application or something, their programs. And if you find these vulnerabilities, these exploits, you can make money. Okay, basically, it's the bottom line. So Google and Yahoo and various companies, Microsoft, even some automobile companies, they want to know that their websites and apps and different things are safe and secure, and they will pay you hackers, you white hat hackers, a bug bounty money to find those vulnerabilities. So, and this article talks about that. New bug bounty program is paying hackers in Bitcoin to find dark net problems. Dark net is basically an obscure part of the internet where a lot of activity, drug sales, porn, gun exchanges, whatever, a lot of things are taking place on the dark net. And you can look it up yourself. But the dark net is an obscure part of the internet where people are doing all sorts of crazy things. And unless you know what you're doing, you better not visit it. But the dark net is a real big underground black market for all sorts of things on the internet. Anyway, hackers can get paid to find vulnerabilities. Hansa is a very well-known marketplace on the dark net. Its services and vendors branch out to sell as many as 15,000 products, and it looks to only grow in size. Recently, the site admins have been looking to fight against unwanted breaches. They offer several bounties to hackers and other darknet experts who will find security glitches on their systems. So that's basically what's happening. You can make $10,000 in Bitcoin, and that was at prices that are like weeks or a month old or something. And since Bitcoin has been going up in value, you can probably make more than $10,000 to find vulnerabilities or exploits where Hansa wants to patch them up. So find the vulnerabilities, notify Hansa as part of its bug bounty program, and make a lot of money. Okay, you hackers out there. That's basically the gist of that article. And what else? Let me see. HackerOne, by the way, HackerOne and BugCrowd are two very popular bug bounty programs. So sign up, let everyone know that you're available to take on projects, and you're going to be looking for vulnerabilities, look for exploits, and you can make a lot of money. There's something called Onion Scan, which is helping to identify and fix security vulnerabilities as well. Look up Onion Scan and see how that project is helping to identify vulnerabilities and exploits as well. Let's see. What else? Let's see. Kaspersky, top Kaspersky worker arrested in Russia for alleged treason. Kaspersky Labs is a very popular cybercrime investigation company. A member of Kaspersky Labs' cybercrime investigations team has been arrested in Russia on charges related to treason, according to the reports. According to Russian newspaper Kommersant, Ruslan Stoyanov was arrested in December 2016 along with Sergei Mikhailov, a senior Russian FSB intelligence officer. Both faced charges of treason. The report said Mikhailov was the deputy head of the Information Security Center, CDC, of the FSB. Kaspersky, Russia's biggest cybersecurity firm, confirmed the arrest of Stoyanov, but said that it related to events. It was related to events that took place before he joined the company and does not affect operations at Kaspersky Labs. The case against the employee does not involve Kaspersky Lab. The statement said the employee, who is head of the computer incidents investigation team, is under investigation for a period predating his employment at Kaspersky Lab. I would take this with a grain of salt, only because, unfortunately, see, guys, Kaspersky Lab is from Russia, I think based in Russia, and we don't know whether or not they just want a foothold in the American marketplace for doing helping with cybercrime, this cybersecurity firm, because Kaspersky Labs is a cybersecurity firm out of Russia, right? We don't know whether or not they just want to have their software installed on as many computers as possible, while at the same time giving us the impression that they're looking out for U.S.-based firms or whatever. So this could be industrial espionage. I'm not quite sure, but anyway, take what I do your own investigation, but just realize where these companies are based that you're doing business with. Okay, so that's going to be it. Okay, I think we covered a lot of ground. I may relate some of these things I didn't cover. The only thing I didn't cover really was China. China's new cybersecurity law, which is basically giving China access to all vendors and suppliers' information, and you have to keep data stored on China's servers. If you're Microsoft, Apple, or something, they want that data stored locally, and they want to scrutinize your operations. At a moment's notice, they can come bursting into your corporate office in China and demand to do an audit and check things out or whatever. The whole gist of this thing, when it comes to cybersecurity laws in different countries, just make sure you understand the United States is kind of liberal as far as privacy is concerned of its citizens. The EU or the European Union is very, very stringent. China, very, very weird type of setup over there in China. They do a lot of censoring, do a lot of intimidation to make sure that what's in China stays in China. And their policies change from moment to moment, so you never know whether or not you're adhering to their policies or not. So you could be breaking a law very easily, whereas you were in compliance in China like yesterday. So, it's very fluid, very changeable in China, so be careful over there with their cybersecurity laws. It's still evolving for the most part. But anyway, that's it. So we're going to conclude this particular session. And we appreciate it when you guys join us in these CyberSecurity Newsflash sessions. This was CyberSecurity Newsflash 14, episode 14. The title, Vizio's Smart TV called Spying on Customers. We covered that. We went into Microsoft's attempt to provide corporations with cybersecurity standards, starting with their own Office 365. We talked about the archiving project, whereby websites and data is being stored, just in case the Trump administration wants to go back and modify or defund agencies. We talked about Netflix app called, what is it called? There's an app called SpyNote, R-A-T, SpyNote Rat. That's mimicking Netflix and a bunch of other apps. So go to the Apple Store only, go to the Google Store only to get these apps. Make sure they're vetted properly. We talked about free tax return services, taking your information in exchange for offering a free service. Ransomware, we talked about ransomware taking Washington, D.C. cameras offline for a number of police departments and such. Credit card fraud is still going up, but it's going up online versus offline. So secure your websites. It can protect customer data. And double check your transactions if you're in the least bit if you're the least bit skeptical. Bug bounty programs, we talked about that. So you guys can make at least $10,000 in bounties by working with Hansa, Hansa, and some other companies by discovering vulnerabilities. And lastly, we talked about Kaspersky Labs and people being arrested, and it looked like that could be a potential problem waiting to happen. So we appreciate it when you guys join us in these particular sessions, and we look forward to having you in the next session. If you have any need for our products or services, renting spy equipment, bug detectors, nanny cameras, GPS trackers, audio bugs, you want to buy anti-terrorist products, narcotics detectors, X-ray baggage scanners, or explosive detectors, give us a call, 888-344-3742. That's 888-344-3742. We look forward to having you in the next session, and share this with a friend, relative, enemy, associate. We don't care who you share with. Just share it with someone, okay? We appreciate it when you guys join us in these sessions, and we welcome you back to the next session, okay? You guys have a great day. Thank you. Take care. Bye.